Okay, Financial Lit, we are starting our final unit. We are going to start talking about investing. Okay, so these notes are posted in Google Classroom. They are under Investing April 28th. Okay, so this is the lesson that we are going through today. I will have another video for you all tomorrow. All right. So, or actually, no, we'll see each other in class tomorrow. So we are going to start with some definitions. So when we talk about investing, we talk about owning an asset or an item with the goal of generating an income or growing in value over time. So when that happens, we don't mean like an actual car that we have right now, unless we're talking about an antique car. So stocks, bonds, real estate, investing in a company, so putting money in a company, hopefully generating some income from that kind of thing. Another thing that we might have is retirement. So retirement is when you get to the point in your life when you no longer need to work to sustain your lifestyle. So I use the example of my husband's grandmother. She is 80 something. Gosh, I don't remember. She's old. She's very old. She still works, but she doesn't need to work to sustain her lifestyle. She works because she enjoys it and she likes what she does. So time value of money. So that is, the idea of that is that your money now is worth more than money later. Meaning it is better to invest it versus holding on to it and just letting it sit in your pocket or just letting you hold on to it. So that's what that principle is. And then we have, so if you need to hit pause so you can get this written down, that is okay as well. And then we have future expenses. So that's money that you need to put out, that you know that you're going to need to spend, or maybe you don't know you need to spend it, so that you can, that you're going to have it. Like a future expense for short term for someone your age would be college tuition, groceries, things of that nature. A midterm, a future expense would be probably a house purchase or a car purchase, children, building a family, that kind of thing, a wedding, if that's what you want. Long term would be medical insurance, hospice care, college tuition for children, funeral expenses for either yourself or your parents, things like that. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want you to be kind of thinking about that. So then we have, when we talk about retiring, the average age for women is 63 and men are 65, and that is crazy. So yeah, so now we are gonna, this is an article that is linked here, so if you want to know more about it, you can. But when we think about that, some of the variables that might determine what age you're going to retire are going to be your income or your occupation. So I started teaching later in life. I had a few other careers before I started teaching. So then that means that I'm going to retire later than most teachers. Most teachers get to retire much earlier than I do. Okay, so then there's like, you know, your lifestyle, where you choose to invest, whether or not you want to have children, get married, what do you want to do? Do you want to travel? Do you want to own more than one home? Do you want to have a vacation home? Those kinds of things. But then there's also things that happen that you can't plan for, that you just don't know that are going to happen. So we use the example of the Coca-Cola Rabbit, that while we were at, so another teacher here, Mr. Andrews, used to be a manager at Target, and he had a Coca-Cola Rabbit. And that Coca-Cola Rabbit worked hard. He was in his mid-30s. He had 2 kids. He had a family. He bought a house. Like, he had a lot of things going for him. And then he got some kind of rare disease where he became blind. It was something that he didn't even know could happen to him. So he was diagnosed with this disease in like March, and by August he was completely blind. So he no longer could do the job that he was doing and had to rethink his entire life. So there's things like that. Miss Baxter is retiring early because she's been sick. She's been diagnosed with cancer, and she's been dealing with that. And so, like, things that happen in your life, you may not be able to plan for it. You can kind of think about it and plan like worst case scenario or emergencies, but you can't always plan for it. So that's something you want to think about when you're talking about your future expenses. So you're 18 years old or so. Some of you are juniors, so you're 17. So what do your future expenses look like? So I want you to write down some things that would be some expenses that you may have, or some of these goals that you might want. So like for me, mine are going to be totally different than yours. I'm much older than you, and I have different things. Like I have a kid that is your age. I have a son that is a senior in high school this year. I have a daughter who's in 6th grade. I have different goals. My short-term plans and expenses look different. Like I've got to start thinking about how I'm going to pay for cheer next year because my daughter's going into competition cheer, but my son's also moving out, so I have different things that I'm looking at. So I would like you to hit pause and go ahead and do that, and I think that is where we stopped for today. So I would like you guys to do that, and then when we get to class together on Friday, I want to make sure that you're ready to go for page 3.